old friends and Okon and Aymen with us today. These two guys, along with their colleagues, have worked like crazy to make Africa ELTA. Our beloved Amira Salama, who is now the incoming president of Africa ELTA, she was with us in our group before. Along with Joyce Kling, who's now president of TESOL. So our group is very active, and partly it's because we have the energy of groups like Africa ELTA. Thank you guys so much for coming today to talk to us about the work you're doing and will be doing in the future. I'm Liz England, the Career Path Development person, and I'm here with Nick King and Linda Chu and Lynn Clark, who are part of our team of leaders. So happy to see Andy Curtis and Hind Ilyas and all of us together. Please join me in welcoming, I think Aymen will be managing the first part of this presentation. Thank you all. Over to you.
All right, thank you very much, Liz, for giving us this opportunity to talk about Africa ELTA, formerly known as Africa TESOL, and the activities that we have been engaged in. And thank you for those who are attending for taking time out of your busy schedules to be with us here on a Saturday. You need to get alive, right?
We love being with you.
I love being with you too. Great.
That means we don't need to attend our meetings anymore, Africa ELTA meetings?
You still have to. All right, so our presentation is entitled Africa ELTA and its activities to support teachers in their careers. And before we begin, I would like to mention that formerly we were known as Africa TESOL. And in December of 2020, we changed our name to Africa ELTA. And ELTA stands for English Language Teachers Association. There are a couple of reasons for the name change. And actually we were in discussion for more than a year about changing our name from Africa TESOL to something else. And we finally brainstormed some names, and we involved our members in selecting one of these names. And the winning name is Africa ELTA. We believe that this name reflects who we are and what we do. We are an association, and we need to include the word association in our name. Second, and most importantly, most of our affiliates don't have in their name to give us that.
I've lost your audio, Aymen. I don't know if there's something we have to do. But...
I don't know. I lost him too. So I don't know if I can just maybe take it from there. And then when it comes back, he can continue from. He was actually wrapping up. Then I will just be the one to carry on. So can I go ahead?
Yeah.
Okay. When we get him back in, he can come back in.
Yes, go ahead, Okon.
All right, beautiful. Liz, thank you for the wonderful introduction. On Facebook, you introduced us as TESOL Rockstars. I was disappointed when I went to Facebook and I thought I would see like 1 million likes. I only saw how many? 92 likes. No, we may not be rock stars, but Aymen and I are rock solid in what we're trying to do for teachers in Africa. So, secondly, I'm so happy that Andy is here. It all started with him in 2010.
Yay!
I don't know if Andy knows about this, but in 2010, when Andy, David Noonan, and Kathy Bailey gave a plenary at Boston Convention on global affiliates, and that was my first TESOL convention. I sat there in the audience listening to the affiliates, and I only had 4 from Africa. And I started thinking, continent Africa? So big with 52 countries, only 4 affiliates? I was angry. I was a graduate student then. I was doing my PhD, and I thought, I don't know anybody here. I don't even know TESOL. This was my first convention. So I didn't know who to talk to. In anger, I wrote to the president. Brock was the president then, asking him to explain. I told him, can you explain why Africa has only 4 affiliates here, whereas America has 40 something, and it's only a country. A continent doesn't have more than 4. I wasn't expecting any reply. Thinking, hey, president, me, students. Strangely, he replied. 2 weeks later, I got a reply from him outlining what TESOL had been doing to involve some countries and what he personally did with the Peace Corps in Africa. And I was ashamed. I thought, oh, here's an American doing so much for my continent. Then what am I doing? So that was how it started. And I thought, okay, to really understand what's going on, let me get into TESOL itself and understand how things work. I joined the diversity committee. I wrote to Rosa, who was the ED then, just asking, where can I serve? I mean, I want to serve. I want to be of service. And then diversity committee was like an option. I thought, okay, I'm talking diversity, I'm preaching diversity. I joined diversity committee, and I thought that was a good place to start. So in my time there, eventually Andy became the president when he was president-elect. I remember them walking into our committee room, and then I was trying to explain what we were doing at the committee level. Then I said, why don't I just start Africa TESOL? Andy was there with Dina and Rose. Andy, help me there. The person before Dina.
Yes, it was
Susan.
Susan Panfer.
Susan, yeah, Susan.
Yes.
And for us.
Yeah, Susan. And then why don't I just start Africa TESOL? And they say, yeah, brilliant idea, go for it. And I just went for it. I wrote to 12 affiliates in Africa, only 4 responded, and some were asking, we've heard this before, this is not a new thing. They always say, we'll do, and nothing gets done.
Yeah.
And so that did not deter me. And Aymen and I were at Qatar University. We talked about it. And eventually, Aymen and I started thinking about how to kickstart this thing. And Aymen was involved with TESOL Sudan. And then we thought, okay, why don't we use Sudan as a launching pad? So in 2015, we actually started planning the first Africa convention. We had no money. We didn't have money for anything. It's just Aymen and I. So I wrote to TESOL, knowing that TESOL is also a charity. They don't give, they want, they receive. So I begged for support. And surprisingly, TESOL gave me $750 to sponsor the conference bags. So that was good.
Yeah.
The Ministry of Education and Higher Education in Sudan provided the venue, and then they provided lunch. The local university provided accommodation for the key speakers. And then we had 3 TESOL past presidents in attendance, Christine, Dina, and Yiling. Yeah, so it was great. It was like, wow, we've started. That conference was wonderful. We had 350 people. I'll talk about that again. So, but from then we started building on what we have until now. I'll pass it back to Aymen. Aymen, check your connections again.
All right, it should be good now.
Oh, sorry, something
Fingers crossed.
before you continue. Andy just corrected me here. I didn't know, so this was from him for not coming to the conference.
Well, we Yeah, it was one of those weird things. I was so looking forward to going, and the 50th presidential year was crazy. And so we had a discussion on the board, and we looked at what we could do instead of the airfare and stuff. And so in the end, we said we were back and forth with Africa TESOL members, and in the end, that's where that 750 came from. My disappointment and not being able to go in person actually turned out to be a way to provide a little seed money. So I'm glad if that part of the story has come out.
Thank you. Thank
I
you
would
very
much
much.
rather have been there in person, but I was really happy that we were able to do something in lieu of me being able to go.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andy. All right, so it's back to me again. I would like to share with you our board members. I'm currently the president, and I come from Sudan originally, but I'm not based in Sudan. I'm based in Qatar, like Okon. Our vice president is Amira Salama, who is based in Cairo, Egypt. Our executive secretary is Hind Alias. She is from Sudan, but she is based in Saudi Arabia. Our publications coordinator is Rethabelli Rejoice Mawela from South Africa. Our membership coordinator is Kwame Oben Adi, and professional development officer is Flavian. And finally, treasurer is Marie from Senegal, and Flavian is from Benin. So as you can see, we have a diverse board with 4 females and 3 males, and they come from different countries as well. And our hope that the upcoming board would all be based in Africa. So slowly those who are based outside of the continent the number of those who are residing out of the continent is dwindling, and we hope for a complete takeover by colleagues who are based in Africa. We are advised by 2 fine gentlemen, Harry Kucha from Cameroon and Okon Effiong from Nigeria. Okon was past president, but now he joined the advisory board, and I would like to thank them for their excellent support and advice. As Okon mentioned, we started with 4 affiliates, but today we have 22 affiliates from 21 different African countries. In the last 2 years, we were able to sign some agreements with partners. The first agreement we signed was with Transform ELTA, and this is an education consulting body based in the UK, and they are our strategic partner. We also have an agreement with ELTA, and this is the association in Nepal, the teacher association in Nepal. We have an agreement with Venezuela TESOL, as well as TESOL Spain, and more recently, like last week, we signed an agreement to collaborate with the British University in Egypt, as they have a research center called Research Center for Irish Studies. So we signed an agreement with them to collaborate on joint events and some research projects. So the activities that we have been engaged in include conferences, ELT events with affiliates, online events, newsletter, mentoring schemes, and ELT repository. I will pass it on to Okon to talk about our 4 in-person conferences.
Thank you, Aymen. When we started, I was really worried that Africa TESOL will take a very long time to evolve, and we didn't have the structure to do what the big boys are doing and what established LTAs in Africa were doing. So I asked Dina Bore then, I said, what do you think we can really do to remain relevant? She advised that we should just focus on organizing conferences, at least for the first 5 years, and see how that goes before we think of bringing things in and other things, which actually made sense. So the first conference, which I mentioned, was in Sudan, and it was attended by over 350 delegates. And it was good in the sense that the venue was provided by the Ministry of Higher Education. We had free lunch for the 2-day period. The keynote speakers were taken care of. And at the end of the conference, we were able to walk away with $1,000, which was not a bad start for a new body. We walked away with $1,000. So that was announcing our arrival on the big stage. Then Senegal offered to host the 2016 conference, but eventually backed out. And then at very short notice, we approached Rwanda, and they were very willing to host the second Africa TESOL conference. And Rwanda again was great. We had a free hall, and then we had more than 450 delegates from many countries. What really impressed me was the fact that so many delegates traveled like 20, 23 hours by bus, by lorry, from Congo, Tanzania, Uganda, to get to the conference. So I was so pleased with these teachers who spent almost 24 hours just to get to the conference and get back. So that again, I found very rewarding. So that was the second conference, and you can see the pictures there. They're on the right, top left is Sudan. Then Senegal, having disappointed us in our second attempt, they offered to host the third version of the conference. And that was great. We had over 400 delegates in Senegal. We actually paid for the hall. But it's also good in the sense that we had delegates from more than 13 countries coming to Senegal. In Rwanda, we had people from more than 15 countries. The fourth physical conference we had was in Nigeria. This was 2019. We had to pay for the hall. Nigeria with 200 million people. We thought we'd be turning delegates away from the door. But sadly, we only had 130 delegates at the conference. But overall, it was great. We still had delegates from more than 12 countries. But in terms of the quality of the presentation, everything was fine. So that's the update on the physical conferences. Côte d'Ivoire was expected to host us in 2020, but the COVID-19 came in, and then everything was turned upside down. And we were hoping that maybe they could host us again in 2021. The COVID pandemic is still in place, so nobody's really sure of anything now. So we opted for an online conference in 2020. So we can't wait to get back again to seeing ourselves in person, where we can actually hug and talk. Back to you, Aymen.
All right, thank you, Okon. So the next few slides, I'm just going to walk you through the different activities that we have engaged in late 2019 and in 2020 as well. So we were able to organize a pre-conference event at the National Convention of the Association of Teachers of English in Senegal, one of our affiliates. And the PCE was organized in collaboration with LAMSIG, that is the Leadership and Management Special Interest Group of IATFL. And it was sponsored by our strategic partner, Transform ELTA. And the theme of the PCE was Leadership and Management for Teachers Association, because our hope was to help our affiliates with some leadership and management of their association. So this took place back in 2019, December of 2019. In December, we also started our webinar series. We bought Zoom subscription and we started a webinar series, and we continued this webinar series in 2020. We didn't have a webinar each month, but we had about 9 webinars. And Liz, who is in attendance here, was one of our webinar speakers a few months ago. We have an upcoming webinar on March 19th, and the topic is storytelling, a great multicultural teaching tool. And I'd like to invite you to attend the webinar. It will be given by Raouf Mama. During the lockdown, we were very busy because we organized weekly discussions and we involved our affiliates. And the weekly discussions related to teaching English during COVID-19 experiences from Africa. And as you can see on the slide, 9 affiliates participated in the weekly discussions. So we would feature different teachers who are representing their associations to talk about what they were doing during the lockdown to keep teaching and learning going. Shortly after those discussions, we organized a decentering ELT webinar series. And here I would like to thank Harry for heading this initiative. This is organized in collaboration with Homebee Trust, Homebee Educational Trust. And the idea of decentering ELT is basically to enable teachers in low-income countries to produce materials that are contextually relevant, as opposed to relying on imported materials from the West. And we invited those who were successful in receiving the project award. The total number of the speakers was 16, and they came from 13 different countries. They talked to us about the different projects that they did locally to support teachers. Shortly after that, we organized our first online symposium in August 2020, and we had about 19 presentations. It was well attended. We had about 200 delegates who attended the symposium, and we received positive feedback about how it went. After the symposium, we engaged in another panel discussion series, and we called it Personal, Professional, and Leadership Development. Before the panel discussion series started with discussing 2 major books that were published on the topic of professional development and leadership. We invited authors from chapter authors from these books to discuss their chapters with us in relation to professional development and leadership development. After that, we opened it up to our affiliates and we invited them to come and reflect on the theme of the panel discussion series. And we had 11 affiliates who participated in this series, and it actually ended last month in February. We also have a newsletter that we are very proud of, and it started with Microsoft Publisher, but now we have a graphic designer who designs our newsletter, and the money for the graphic designer comes from donations from board members and advisors. This issue 8, focused on the virtual symposium that we held in August of 2020. And the issue before that, issue 7, focused on the pandemic. And we received many articles from African teachers that dealt with what they were doing to keep teaching and learning going during the pandemic. We also engaged in a couple of mentoring schemes. And the first one is the research group. This research group convened shortly after our conference in Abuja in 2019. 26 teachers joined the group, and the idea is to help teachers with classroom research so that they are able to investigate issues that arise in their classrooms and find solutions for them. This was done in collaboration with the research special interest group of TESOL. They provided mentors. Africa ELTA also provided mentors, and they worked with the teachers, guided them in terms of their research development. And the outcome of this was presentations during our virtual symposium in October 2020. We had 3 teachers who participated with their presentations, which were made as a result of this research project. In addition, and more recently, we engaged with another mentoring scheme with EVE, and EVE stands for Equal Voices in ELT, and the project involved female leadership mentoring program, whereby 8 female teachers from different African countries participated in how to give a conference presentation. They were paired with mentors from EVE, and they worked for a period of 3 months on developing a conference presentation. And thanks to Amira Salama, who also headed this project. And the outcome was a presentation at the end of the project, which was in January 2021. And we also registered these wonderful female teachers as webinar speakers for Africa ELTA, and they will be giving us webinars in the future. We also have a kind of ELT repository, and this is mainly our website where we publish information about our activities. And we have also created a YouTube channel where we post our activities as well, the videos that we do during the different events that we hold online. We have some challenges, and these challenges are not new. So I would like to invite Okon again to speak about these challenges that we currently face, or we have been facing.
Thank you, Aymen. I think I see myself as Mr. Fix-It, so I keep talking about the difficulties we have. You discuss the sweet part of the Africa ELTA stuff. Okay, membership. When we started out, we thought we could just charge our members a token annual registration fee of $10. But then we discovered the $10 was way too high to ask. And this is because, let's take Nigeria, for example. A full professor takes on $1,000 a month. Then some college teachers are on between $350 to $500. And then some high school and primary school teachers are earning $100 to $200 a month. Now to ask them to pay $10 from these, it's a lot of money. So that is a problem of membership, affordability. The second challenge is the payment platform, which we do lack, because unlike many established organizations, they have bank accounts, payment system or clearinghouse. We don't have that. So it's difficult to get dues from members. And as a result of these difficulties imposed by these technical or political restrictions, the COVID pandemic also added to our problems. So we decided in 2020 to offer free membership to teachers in Africa. And then from the initial 200 members, we now can say that Africa ELTA has 860 members. So we've been able to get more members. So moving on, online event attendance. As we can see today, how many attendees are from Africa? We advertise on the forum, on the members forum, leadership forum, and Facebook, everywhere, but we still don't see them. We don't see them, probably because the cost of buying data bundle is so high. About $1 will get you 1 gig of data, and $1 could still be a lot of money compared to what you could do with $1 in terms of food or bills. And then the connectivity, even if you can afford the $1, what about the connectivity? Internet goes up, it goes down. Network goes up, it goes down. So there is no reliability in terms of having a steady connection to attend events like this. For some of you who have been coming to Africa ELTA webinars, you can see that sometimes our PD coordinator will lose him, then will lose his video and then audio. So that is a struggle. And we have with trying to get our members to come to our events. The few that we're able to even present, often we only have them on audio, not on video, because the bandwidth cannot sustain the video connection. The third one is incorporating the association. We started with Sudan. We thought we could incorporate the association in Sudan. We were given a physical secretariat, which was great. But at the time, Sudan was having issues with the international community. The clearinghouse, the financial clearinghouse, the global international clearinghouse, however it works. We could not process credit cards in Sudan. We could not send dollars to Sudan. So we couldn't establish a secretariat in Sudan, which would have been ideal because we're given a physical building and we had people on ground who could have been able to assist us to run the secretariat. But because we couldn't process payments, that was not possible. I thought I could do it in Nigeria, being my country. They also came up with their own regulations. The trustees must be based in Nigeria. At least 4 trustees must be based in Nigeria. Assuming we can overcome that, then to get money out of the bank account, you have to be physically present, you, the treasurer, and somebody else, 3 officials, physically present to get money out. And you can see our board composition. They're all still residents in different countries. Our treasurer is in Senegal. We asked her to try if we could get that done in Senegal, the same story. And then PayPal that we were using to process our payment, PayPal has frozen our account. I think we still have like almost $2,000 with PayPal because we couldn't provide the documents showing that this organization is incorporated. I think Aymen can explain that better. So these are the issues we are struggling with. In terms of resources, we've been able to, the first time we actually got money from any partnership was in 2019. Transform ELT gave us $2,000. We haven't been able to get anything from any partner, probably because of this transaction, the payment platform is one. Second is the benefits they stand to gain. I mean, if we don't engage our members the way we ought to, I mean, how would they now be able to sell their services to our members? I mean, how would they now be able to sell their training programs to our members if they're struggling to pay $10? So these are the challenges we're getting. Finally, volunteerism. The concept is so different in Africa. People always expect something to come back to them. What is the need for me? We ask people to come and join us. They say, will you send me to TESOL International Conference? Will you send me to IATEFL? We're trying to come to you because you can't go to TESOL International or IATEFL conventions. That's why we're coming to you. Now you're asking us to sponsor you to these conventions. So that is just the mindset we have to deal with. Also, the thing I talked about earlier, the money issue, finances, who is going to spend his time doing something for us when he should be using that time to earn extra dollars to support his family? So if you have 4 hours in a day, rather than come and do association non-paying activities, you go and sell maybe bread or bananas, or you go and look for private tuition to do and then get extra money. So that is the struggle we have. I mean, this is the problems we are having. I think once the floor is open, we can maybe talk more about these issues, and then I can shed more light. Okay, Aymen, I'm done.
All right. I think this is about it. This is all we wanted to share with you, and we would welcome your questions and comments. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, Aymen and Okon. Thank you so much. I am so surprised that our group is small, but I'm also happy because it means we can have a more or less normal conversation and ask questions and answer them together. I'll stop. Please ask a question if you have one. Andy Curtis, I can tell you have a question by your body language.
You're absolutely right. Thank you. I was wondering whether it's worth Africa ELTA considering applying to be an affiliate of IATEFL or an affiliate of TESOL International, because IATEFL I'm not sure of, but I know as a TESOL affiliate, you may, I imagine with IATEFL as well, becoming an affiliate means that you're able to access some resources. So I think that's, for example, there's the affiliate speaker program and various other kind of funding support now. TESOL International Association itself, of course, is struggling with 2 conventions online and so on, but I know they still have a very strong commitment to their affiliates. I've written some articles recently for the affiliate newsletter so I've worked with I think it's the Affiliate Network Professional Council, something like that. So I wondered if you'd thought about starting that process or applying for affiliate membership, because I'm pretty sure that would allow you to tap into some additional resources.
Yeah, that's a very good question, Andy. Thank you very much. We actually have tried to become affiliate with TESOL and IATEFL, but I think both organizations don't affiliate regional bodies. They only affiliate national bodies. That's what we were told.
Okay, well, if it would help, I'm certainly happy to. I'm still in regular contact with TESOL. Once you've been a president, you kind of never get to fully divorce from the group. So I would be happy if it would help to follow up and ask, because I think you're right. I think historically they go by country, but things are different, and this is a different kind of organization. And I can't think of immediately of a logical reason for saying no. So if it's okay with you, I'll follow up with the leadership of the TESOL Association and the affiliate, this professional council, affiliate professional council, I know the leaders within that organization, so I'd be happy to write to them and say, following up on this discussion, would the association consider affiliates on a regional or even continental basis? It's worth asking, right?
Just to add to that, and many of our affiliates are actually TESOL affiliates. So if we affiliate to TESOL, it's like we are going to collect what they already know how to collect.
Yeah.
So that's another hindrance. So we were coming to Africa like an umbrella organization. So we are here together. Let's stay together. Yeah. If it is possible, we can go and bring resources and bring to Africa. And then we were looking at publishing a journal, and maybe that would be having free access, online free access. So we explored that possibilities, and one or two publishers told us, you have to pay, look for a sponsor to pay for the open access journal. So this is just an example of one of the benefits we thought we could bring to Africa. And so this also caused a lot of confusion, which also accumulated to the name change, because people assume that we are an affiliate of TESOL. So they kept saying Africa TESOL, affiliate of TESOL. We have to keep correcting people. No, we are not. We are independent. We are autonomous. So that was one of the reasons we changed to Africa ELTA, to minimize the confusion. So, but in terms of affiliation, I think it's something that maybe the board can discuss, look at ways of, if that could be more beneficial to our members who are not affiliated to TESOL, some of the affiliates who are not affiliated, then we can seriously consider that, and we'll let you know. Or well, they will let you know. I'm no longer on the board.
Right. Yeah. I was gonna say that, Okon, that it's a very good proposal, and thank you, Andy, for proposing that. We'll discuss it at board meetings and get back to you if the board sees that there will be benefit from affiliating ourselves with TESOL.
Good question, Andy. Thanks.
I have a question. I'd like to ask about your newsletter. How is it distributed? Is it electronic, or do you print hard copies? What do you do with the newsletter?
Yes, the newsletter, that's a great question. Thank you. Mainly we distribute it electronically. We publish it on our website, and we also post it on our Facebook page. When we were doing in-person conferences, we would print some copies to take to the conferences in order to showcase the newsletter. But yes, mainly it is distributed electronically.
And how often do you publish? Is it once a month or?
No, we publish quarterly, once every 3 months. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for the question.
I think Mick had a question earlier in the chat.
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you, Okon and Aymen, for your presentation. Really interesting to know what you're doing. You've partly answered my question. I asked it right at the beginning, actually. But before I do, what you just said about IATEFL, that's a shame, because TESOL Gulf, which is in its second year, they are looking maybe to affiliate with IATEFL, but it's also a regional organization. So I don't know, we might face the same issues. We can't, I think, with TESOL International because we don't have an annual conference yet. But yeah, so that's interesting to know. And so we go with that. My question was actually, Okon, you raised some of the challenges. And I just wanted to know whether you find some of these challenges are typical of Africa, ELTA, or is it typical of organizations in general? Because you've both been involved in other sort of LTAs. So how does it compare?
I think the challenges are typical of the African context, because I was president of Qatar TESOL, you're in Qatar, so we know how things work here. And apart from the political obstacles we have here in incorporating the association, everything else was okay. People came to conferences, they pay on the registration, conference registration on the day. That gave the association enough money to function for the following year. Then we had newsletters. But in Africa, it's just so different, because even the affiliates in Africa, very few are very active. I mean, I can look at Senegal as a very good affiliate that is very vibrant, very active and doing stuff. And then we also have like Cote d'Ivoire or Mali that are doing things. And then others are just kind of sleeping, very quiet. And then once in a while, you just hear one event. And then the leadership structure never changes. The same people you saw 5 years ago, the same names, you see them again now. So there is no succession planning. And that is mostly because their leader, if there's an opportunity to go to Europe for a conference, you'll be the one to go. So they want to stay there and stay there until they keep going to all the international conferences without stepping aside to allow room for other people. So when people now see this, somebody hogging that position for so long, they show little interest in committing themselves in volunteering. So they bring the same attitude to the Africa ELTA platform. So for them, it's like, I want to be president, I want to be vice president, without even thinking of what you can do to justify that position. They just want the title. So I want to be president, I want to be. So if they don't get the chance to become that thing they want to be, they show no interest at all. So these challenges, I think, are very typical African to consider it as something universal in nature now.
But not unique to Africa.
No, not unique to Africa, because I don't know what's going on in Latin America, in Southeast Asia, Nepal, but I mean, I'm African, so I'm talking about what I know, what I experienced. If I'd lived in a place like, I say, Colombia, or then maybe Vietnam, then I'd be able to kind of compare across the board. Yeah.
We had issues like that in Saudi Arabia as well. Meetings and conferences, the attendance was really low. I think it's general, maybe Middle East and Africa.
Yeah, I want to ask a question about challenges that didn't come up. And I think it would be good for us to discuss. We have time. The issue is the colonial history in Africa and the imperialistic history in Africa from the United States, the British. The projects that I've been involved with in Africa are through the US State Department. And often those projects are, in my view, not always so well guided, not so well designed. And one finds out about it when she lands in the airport and starts talking to people. Oh my gosh, we should be doing something totally different. But at the same time, the hearts are in the right place, I would say, and there's money. One thing, I think early on, we had this problem with Africa, when it was Africa TESOL, we had trouble with the internet. And Flavian was suffering so much trying to be the manager of our technology in a presentation, that sort of thing. And we, there were resources for him that were attached to the US Embassy, And so, I mean, there are ways in which these can be done. When Tabitha Kidwell, I approached her to do a webinar on behalf of Africa ELTA. She said, no, I want to do it with Africans. I'm not doing it myself. I don't know. Brilliant. And I thought a useful step for all of us. I didn't even think of it, and she said, please find me some. So Amira and I, we found there are other people on her program, as maybe you were there and remember, and it was a superb presentation. And Tabitha will tell you today that she learned more than she taught, because in the preparation for this event, she was connected with these, I think, two or three other colleagues who, with her, worked together to create this webinar. And it was really cool. It was a really good webinar. And I think the participants learned things from their African colleagues, as well as from this white girl who was there talking to them as well. So only to say, this is a challenge, I think, for Africa ELTA as you move forward with Andy's generous support to work with TESOL, ITEFL, to find ways in which the resources that are out there can be managed by Africans for African purposes, if you will. So thank you for my long chat, sorry.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. And this is the vision of Africa ELTA, is to be able to rely on local talent and be able to help teachers in Africa to develop professionally and develop materials that are locally relevant to them. And I talked about the decentering ELT webinar, and that is the purpose of this decentering ELT webinar, is to go to low-income countries that rely on imported textbooks, and the project, the scheme, is to actually help teachers identify local professionals who can come together and work on professional development activities, whether it is teacher education or materials development, so on and so forth. So I agree that we need to be more aware of that and work more on it.
And I think like countries in Africa can help each other, because there are some countries in Africa that have really good connection, and they don't have internet issues, so they can collaborate and share ideas with other countries in Africa if they use the same internet, a different type, the internet source, or they can just share ideas and see if they can use the same things, and that will kind of solve problems.
Quite very few North African countries can boast of good connectivity. In fact, in the last conference we had in Qatar University here, out of the 96 presentations, we had 6 no-shows, and 5 came from Africa. Not because they did show up, but because of connectivity. They were let down the very last minute. So, and it was like, what can we do? How do we move from here? So it's a problem that if the State Department or the British Council really want to support African teachers, technically, is to provide a technical platform for them to be able to do what they need to do. So they're doing a lot, but this challenge is just continent-wide. So until we can get this sort of connectivity, if it means paying for the higher bandwidth, so that when it comes to hosting events, they'll be able to use it, because we don't know when we'll begin to start doing face-to-face convention again. So I don't know who is going to pass that message across the State Department. Like Aymen said, we're trying to look inwards, to be kind of self-reliant, to use what we have to grow. But so far, it's been a very slow process. I approached Africa Union Education Department. They ignored my email. I wrote to the Association of African Universities just to introduce what we are doing and see if we can get some structural support. I was largely ignored. Then in Nigeria, we hosted a conference in a venue that is owned by the National Commission for Colleges of Education, in charge of 200 colleges, in charge of 6,000 teachers, but not a single email to invite the teachers to our conference. They were more interested in collecting the $1,500 venue fee than to get teachers to come and learn. So this is what we have to deal with. People that don't really think of the big picture or how to really help people, but only their pocket, what can come into their pocket. It's a tough call.
Well, and Okon, as you well know, in Botswana, where I did a project, I was humbled because people don't have enough water to drink. How do I talk to them about setting up association of teachers of English when they don't know if they're going to be able to drink water tomorrow? The HIV AIDS crisis You know, people, every single family had a dead person die in their family from AIDS. And I can't talk to them about how do we do a English language teachers conference. So, you know, this is the reality of Africa and not all over, and it's not all grim. These teachers are amazing. But it is important to know that there are Maslow's hierarchy. Yeah, survival is important to people. But you do have US Embassy, British Consul, they can offer technical support. Again, and as you were saying, it's the right person. You find somebody who says, yeah, I can hook them up with a broadband for their conference on this date and for these hours without any problem. Yeah, you find the right guy. And it shouldn't be that way. It should be institutional, but it isn't. It's the individual British Council officer or relo who will be helpful. And that person, you know, click, click, makes it happen in ways. And I wish we could make it better, but I don't know how.
Can I ask another question, please, guys? Or maybe even just suggestions, or just ask you if something you've considered. Because, excuse me, because it's you're talking about a continent. It's huge.
Yeah.
And you know, and these kind of things that you're mentioning, I guess they're more likely to be solved at the national level. So it's difficult for Africa as an organization to support people in getting funding for internet or things like this. But I wonder if through the affiliates you could have some sort of fundraising. You have a fundraising system where the Africa ELTA would sort of have a fund or a budget, which would then be issued to worthy causes among the affiliates, maybe on a rotational basis or something like this. I'm just thinking out loud. And talking about the affiliates, I wonder if you do you have like a sort of an annual AGM of the affiliates where you get their feedback about how the organization can serve them and something like that? Is that something that you do? And how does it go if you do that?
Yeah, the suggestion is great, Mick. Well, think about it. It's a great idea to think about fundraising. As for communication with affiliates, we have a WhatsApp group for all the affiliate leaders, and it is there where we discuss issues and share information about different matters.
We're coming to the end of our program. Thank you, Mick. Manuel is here from Mexico, and I really am thrilled that you came to join us, Manuel. If you had an idea about resources, and I wondered if you'd share those with us in the next, we'll wrap up in the next several minutes, but Manuel had a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, everyone. Greetings from Mexico. Yeah, what we're doing here, well, where I live in Mexico, I don't know if it is happening all across the country, but what we're doing here, it is that universities, you know, remain open with their computer labs available for students, you know, with no internet connection, or teachers, even teachers that have problems at home with their internet, and they can teach their classes from there. They can prepare their materials, you know. We have all the measures there to make sure that they are in a safe environment. You know, social distancing, everything is carefully planned. But those opportunities, you know, are for people who would never have access to a computer or internet during this pandemic, and they would lose their classes that, if you see it as now, it's been 1 year now, so they would be falling behind with all of their classes. So this is something that it is working well right now. It is working very, very well. And even if they have a steady internet connection at home, but something goes wrong on a certain day of the week, like there's no electricity, they can just always rely that they can go to the university and teach their classes from there. You know, so it's working. I don't know what you think about this thing that we're doing here, but I know it won't solve everyone's problem, but at least it is helping most of our students and teachers.
Thank you. Thoughtful faces in front of me. Thank you, Okon. Thank you, Aymen. You get the last word. I want to make a quick announcement before we go. And then I'll hand it over to you all to give us the last word. Our next event is going to be a little tea party that we're going to have after TESOL International Convention. On the 3rd of April, we'll watch your inbox for announcements on Facebook as well as on email and through the TESOL.org professional learning networks. The TESOL convention is coming up. Some of us will be part of it. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all there in the next couple of weeks. We have various events, including what came up today, the affiliate, Andy talked about the affiliate leaders event, which is, I think, after the convention, but also kind of a useful opportunity for us to join in. Thank you all for joining us today. Aymen and Okon, thank you. Any words of wisdom to leave us?
Before Aymen says, I would just say that the future Africa ELTA board will be purely Africans, and hopefully they will evolve organically, not waiting for us that are outside Africa to come with an international concept. So hopefully it will happen naturally. Yeah.
Thank you. Good message.
And related to this message, I would like to say that also we are thinking about elections, but right now the current structure we have doesn't allow us to hold elections. Hopefully when we develop a good membership database, then that will help us in conducting elections. And as Okon mentioned, we hope that the leaders of Africa ELTA in the future all come from Africa, and we will just be in the behind the scenes supporting them.
Beautiful. Well, your work to date is fantastic. We're so happy to hear from you, to learn from you about what's going on, and to support you, because the future is unknown. Anything is possible.
Yeah.
We can hope, we can be optimists. Thank you all. Have a wonderful evening or day.
Thank
a pleasure
you.
seeing everyone.
Thank
Bye
you.
now.
Bye. Yeah.